Good evening. I hope everyone's having a good time so far. My name is Karen, and this is my sister Janine, and we wanted to tell you about our journey with Team in Training. This past August, I had just returned from a 3-month internship on Maui. Not too bad. I was in paradise. I was hiking, snorkeling, and even running a half marathon. I was still adjusting back to the reality of grad school when I found a big hard lump right above my collarbone. I was hoping it was a dinosaur egg, and Janine thought it might be a turtle. But either way, I knew it wasn't right. So I went to the student health center after class, and I hoped for the best. I mean, it couldn't be anything serious, right? I'm really healthy, and I hardly ever got sick. But a week and a half later, after x-rays and CT scans and biopsies, I was told I had Hodgkin's lymphoma. You never expect to hear the words "you have cancer" when you're 32 years old and you feel healthy. It's just surreal. And even today, I'm still shocked. My head began to fill with questions I never thought I would ask. What's chemo going to be like? Will I lose my hair? Will I still be able to have children? Will I live? After more tests, I found out that my cancer was a stage 2A, and I knew that my chances for beating this were good, but I was still really scared. Scared that chemo would hurt, or that I wouldn't be able to continue with school. But with my friends and family beside me, I started my battle against cancer because I had no other choice.
Karen and I ran our first race together in 1990. It's our 5K. And we decided to retire from running entirely. About 19 years later, our dad, sitting over here, inspired us to start running again after he ran a half marathon after recovering from prostate cancer. So Karen coerced me into running a half marathon about 4 years ago. I really didn't like it. At the end, I told her I would never, ever run more than 5 miles again. So Karen went on to run 8 more half marathons and 3 LA marathons, and I steadfastly refused. She kept trying to coerce me. Please, just run this half marathon with me. It'll be so cool. And no. However, in a strange twist of fate, on the day of her diagnosis, she had a TNT pamphlet sitting right on her coffee table. She shoved it in my hand and said, "Here, now you have to run a half marathon because I have cancer." It was the first time she laid down the cancer card, and it certainly was not the last. But there was something about the idea of actually doing something and not sitting back and succumbing to the helplessness of what was looming ahead of us that was really appealing. So I agreed to go to the information session, and here we are 7 months later. We know more about Team in Training and fundraising and Hodgkin's lymphoma than we ever thought we would.
Cancer has changed my life in so many ways. I've had stuff taken out of me and other stuff put in. Chemo made me tired all the time, it made my mouth hurt, it made my muscles ache, it made my hair fall out. I now empathize with my dog and her shedding. It's not her fault she leaves fur everywhere. She can't help it. With me, I got sick of leaving a trail of hair everywhere, and so I decided to shave my head. It was a difficult choice, but in the end, it had to be done. I tried to make the transition a little bit easier by starting with a mullet, moving to a mohawk, and then finally going Britney Spears. This was a tear-filled event, but I had my family and friends supporting me the whole way. In fact, the Monday that I returned to school with a shaved head, my friends organized my entire class of 120 people to wear scarves and hats to show their support and solidarity in the fight. And I know I'm in Bruins territory, but fight on USC. Now don't get me wrong, chemo isn't all bad. It did save my life. Plus, I've saved a ton of money on things like shampoo, conditioner, and razors, and hairspray.
Although I didn't lose my hair, my life has changed over the past 7 months, almost as dramatically. Almost every other Friday, we spent 8 hours in the hospital, alternating between watching movies on our laptops and watching Karen snore. For some reason, losing all of your nose hair makes you snore, so she can't really help it. We also have our companion, the buffalo, who accompanies us to every treatment to try to entertain us and get our mind off of the fact that we are sitting there because Karen has cancer. And on Sundays, instead of sleeping in until 9 o'clock, I would drag myself out of bed every morning and somehow get motivated to run, which I really, really didn't like doing. This is not something I'm accustomed to, and unlike some of you seasoned marathon runners and coaches out there, this is really unappealing. But then I would pull up to our practice spot, right around the corner, and see our team, and remember that no matter how tired I felt, I didn't feel as tired as my sister or anyone else going through treatment that morning. And once I saw our team, running didn't seem that hard anymore. There's something about the purple shirts that just made it seem a little bit easier.
For me, joining TNT wasn't as much about training as it was being in a supportive place where I could meet other people who had been impacted by cancer and who really wanted to do something about it. Each week, I met people who fought through their own battles and came out stronger than before. I had people who understood that I was tired, and they walked by my side speaking words of encouragement. And I was doing something I knew would help in the fight against blood cancers. This gave me some feeling of control in what felt like an uncontrollable situation.
When a family member, and in this case my sister and very best friend, is diagnosed with cancer, the first thing you want to do is find a way to tell them that you will trade places with them, and that you can take it all away and you can make it all better. And then you're hit with the realization that you can't. And she has to have chemotherapy for 6 months, and that she's going to feel sick, and she's going to lose her hair, and there's nothing you can do about it, and there's an overwhelming sense of helplessness. Fundraising and training gave me purpose on those days. On the days when I felt so powerless to cancer, when I was feeling so sad and angry and frustrated, those were also the days that I felt most inspired. Those were the days when I would put on my running shoes and run 6 miles after work, even though I was exhausted. Or I would sit down and write another 10 emails when I knew my friends and everyone around me were probably tired of hearing about team and training and half marathons. And yet the support came pouring in from every direction. On some of the hardest days, I would just sit and stare at our fundraising page, and I would read the names of the 200 people who had donated money to us and supported us, and that kept me going.
When race day came along, I was nervous. I'm sure none of you are right now. Even though it was my 10th half marathon, it was my first while undergoing chemo. I hadn't trained how I had wanted because I was tired so much of the time. Because chemo messes with your body. I had some amazing blisters on the bottoms of my feet. Even with my many blister band-aids and backup plans, by mile 3, I was pretty sure I wasn't going to be able to finish the race. With each step, I could feel my feet rebelling against me. But each time I felt like I couldn't go any further, I would hear someone yell, "Go team!" And I knew I could keep going. Throughout the race, TNT mentors, coaches, and participants were by my side, making sure that I was doing okay. And even though it felt impossible, and I had more blisters than foot, I crossed that finish line. The support from the entire TNT family, along with the support from everyone who donated and believed in me, carried me to the end. So when you're tired, trust me, you're going to be tired, just remember to let all of that wonderful TNT support carry you and keep you going, and you'll cross that finish line. And look for me around mile 19. I'll be out there for you guys, and if you need a little extra energy, you're welcome to rub my head.
So now that we stand before you 2 months after our race, we're proud as ever to be a part of TNT. I obviously never thought I would run a half marathon again, and yet I did it faster than I ever thought I could. I never thought we could even raise our minimum, and yet together we raised over $22,000. It's one thing to achieve a huge goal, like finishing a big race or raising thousands of dollars, but to do it in honor of my sister and every other patient, family member, friend, and loved one out there who has ever been affected by a blood cancer is truly and honestly one of my proudest achievements.
We would like to thank all of you and everyone in TNT from the bottom of our hearts and our running shoes for everything you have done for us and people affected by blood cancers. Our lives were turned upside down by my diagnosis 7 months ago, and we don't know how our journey would have been without Team in Training by our sides. We've made goals, met friends, and found inspiration in our experience. Through our fundraising and our training, we have learned invaluable lessons about our support network as well as ourselves. We have had so many cheerleaders along the way that have helped us survive some of the toughest days. We have very deep and heartfelt gratitude to LLS and TNT for giving us this opportunity to share our story and our journey. We are so very proud to have teammates like all of you running to help people just like me. Go team!